Hey there, it's your friend Stormy Warren here, and I want to invite you to my new home, the Big 615, exclusively on TuneIn. So what is the Big 615? Well, simply put, it's the official home of country music broadcasting live from Nashville to the world. Download the TuneIn app from the App Store. That's TuneIn. And by the way, yes, it's free. You can also ask your device to play the Big 615 on TuneIn. Get the latest on country music from your favorite artists to the hottest songs climbing up the charts. Oh, and it's commercial free. That means a whole lot more music and a whole lot more country. Hear it all on the Stormy Warren Show, weekdays from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central. Download the TuneIn app from the App Store. That's TuneIn. And by the way, yes, it's free. You can also ask your device to play the Big 615 on TuneIn. And I look forward to having you join me on the Big 615.
This is your country station.
The Big 615.
Hey, it's Brian Mitchell, and I know a little something about performing at the highest level. On and off the field, I've always demanded excellence. If your HVAC system is less than excellent, you need Ruud. For over 100 years, Ruud products have been manufactured to the highest quality and have some of the best warranties in the business. So stay cool this summer with the help of Ruud. You can live in complete comfort knowing Ruud always provides trusted, long-lasting solutions. To find your local Ruud contractor and get a free estimate, go to Ruud.com. That's RUUD.com. Take my word for it. If it ain't Ruud, it ain't right.
Looking for an adventure? Find yours in a Toyota truck. Like a Tacoma, the ultimate off-road machine. With available crawl control, you'll tackle anything in your way. Or an electrified Tundra with more power than ever before and a spacious high-tech cabin that puts you in charge. Or go with the legendary 4Runner, always reliable and durable over the toughest terrain. No matter your adventure, Toyota has you covered. Visit buyatoyota.com for more, and let's go places.
This is Sports Daily on Wichita's #1 sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
All right, welcome in, everybody. It is Sports Daily on KFH. Jacob Albrocht here alongside Paul Savage. Glad to be here with you. It is a Friday edition. Tommy's out. Paul is in. Paul, how are you, big man?
I'm good. How you doing, big boy? You doing okay? Everything going good?
Everything's going pretty good, Paul. Yep. It's there's actually, in a week that's been moderately slow, we come into this Friday, and it is not slow. It is a pretty busy Friday. Did you watch the match yesterday, Paul?
Well, I watched a good chunk of it. I mean, I didn't see it all, but I saw a good chunk of it. By the way, Draymond Green got on my nerves. Kind of got on my – I mean, did you get enough of him? Have you gotten enough of him to last, 6 months, 9 months? Have you gotten enough of Draymond Green?
I'm all right with Draymond Green.
Oh, my gosh. Do you think okay, I mean, there's no right or wrong answer to that, but I had my fill of it. And by the way, there's a lot of potential in golf for Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that guy, I feel like he knows his way around a golf course. I don't think I'm missing anything. I don't think I'm missing anything.
We had Chelsea Messenger on yesterday, and she was trying to get better odds on Clay and Steph. They were overwhelming favorites in this thing because Steph Curry is such a good golfer. Mm-hmm. And I just kept thinking to myself, and I actually put money on Mahomes and Kelsey, and which I think paid like 2.5 to 1 or something at BetMGM or whatever it was. But it was like, to me, I just kept thinking, I was like, man, these guys are such gamers. Like, they're not gonna, they're big time. They've got the swag. Like, they're not gonna they're just not gonna get rolled over. And I knew they'd be better at trash talk and like putting the screws to them a little bit. And that's what they did. They came out and they were confident. And yeah, they're both good golfers. We've seen them play in the match before. Now, Travis Kelce, and I didn't watch like every stroke of this thing, but in and out, Travis Kelce maybe played above his norm. I think he was really good. But Curry's basically a scratch golfer. He's got like a 1 handicap.
Right. Where are they? I'm aware.
Mahomes is about a little under an 8. Coming in, it was the reporting on his handicap. So it kind of came down to Clay versus Travis Kelce, right? And Kelce had a great turn. He had a great round, and they won, and they paid all those people. But it's just like it to me, it becomes if you've ever been out on a golf course and it's a casual game, sometimes it's the better trash talkers and the confidence plays through and all that stuff. And I thought that's what happened yesterday. They were in their heads and they had him up against the ropes from the first hole.
Right. And Clay had some moments that were just horrendous. Just horrendous.
Hitting a spectator in the head on an errant drive.
Well, that would be one of the moments I'm speaking of. Yes, that would qualify.
To be fair, you can't go to a tournament like that and expect it to be like the pros where you're generally safe over there. Right? Like you have to understand these guys are more like us than they are like the pros.
Yes.
So
you got a good point there. And of course, there was a putt or two, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just looking at my spacing, that, Clay had a putt or two where the putt that he had lined up by the time he made the shot, he was a little further away from the hole that he was when he originally putted. So I mean, it was tough. It was hard. It was hard. It was entertaining. Got my fill fairly quick of Draymond Green, and because
What'd you think of Von Miller? What do you think of Von Miller of the Bills buddying up with two Chiefs, their arch nemesis?
Oh, come on. Of course. What are you going to do? Pick basketball over football? That's a guy thing. That's hey, we're in the family. I may not like everybody in my family, but don't you do anything to my family. Don't you say anything to my family, or you got to deal with me. It was a football thing. It's a football family thing is what it is, Jacob. Football families. And how many times do you hear the word football, my football family? How often do you hear, this is my basketball family? Nobody says basketball family.
I mean,
not
they
very.
Do, but, but I get what you're saying. Get what you're saying. It's fine. It was interesting that a Buffalo Bill, who's been the rival of the Chiefs in recent years, was essentially on the bag for the two Chiefs guys. It's fun. Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes are contagious, and we talked about it a little bit yesterday with when the Travis Kelce underpaid stuff got, I think, misrepresented a little bit in some of the headlines. Like, those two dudes are having more fun being teammates and playing the game of football, I think, than anybody ever has doing that. Like, whenever we see shows on cable about how much fun it must be to live that lifestyle, like, these two are the poster child of that. And they are having such a great time. It's contagious. And the rest of us get to do that too. And yesterday was a perfect example of it. They're heavy underdogs against, really Steph Curry in a golf event, and they take him down. Mm-hmm. And that's a blast and fun. And I love this event. I'm sure that it raises a ton of money. People put eyes on it. It's fun. It's at the perfect time of year. And I think these kinds of things are, they're great for golf in general, because it always, like, these guys are more like us than they are like the pros. And they're going to be out there having fun. And TNT and Turner always does such a great job with the creativity and the way they do some of these broadcasts. But Mike and everybody up. One of my favorite moments, I don't know if you've seen the clip, was when Draymond Green and Von Miller were talking. And Draymond Green was trying to, like, quietly shoulder the blame on Klay Thompson. Like, he's just not carrying his weight in this match. And you hear Klay, like, dude, I can hear you, right? Because they're all mic'd up.
Yes,
it's like, oh, no.
That's right. Yes.
That's good.
Now, that's part of the charm of the whole thing. And by the way, I like your point with regards to camaraderie. I mean, two guys who are actually friends, who really do like each other, like playing with each other.
Well, Steph and Klay are that way, too. That's why this was the perfect, I thought, pairing. Because you had two of maybe the most famous sets of teammates in sports right now with those two pairings.
But I don't get this sense. I mean, and I know they are, but maybe it's just because it's Kansas City. Maybe it's football. Maybe they're just 180 miles up the road from us, and we kind of live with the Chiefs in this part of the country, and maybe that's what it is. But I liked your take on, these guys really do like each other, and I got to thinking to myself, what seems like to me that's the way it is in football, probably more than any other sport, as I try to think of a couple of different examples of where that might be, friend and friend who really, really care for each other on the same team. And I start thinking of basketball, and I'm sure they're out there.
I mean, it's the Splash Brothers. Yeah, there's no doubt it's the Splash Brothers.
Well, it might be.
They for sure are, and they're probably the next best pairing, at least off the top of my head. And that's why this was such a good a good matchup. And I didn't need pro golfers in it. Like, get some dudes who can, at least hit the ball solid every time and aren't out there flailing away like somebody like me. Get personalities out there and just have some fun with it.
Right.
I mean, that's the reality of it.
Well, and it was entertaining. I mean, come on, it was entertaining. It was fun to watch.
It was.
I mean, if you're a serious golfer, you're thinking to yourself, well, I'm like these guys, kind of. Maybe I'm not really as good as a couple of those guys. I'm running a scratch golf for a nice handicap, and Mahomes was playing well. He was doing a lot of things right. But of course, the specter of the golf gods would raise their head on an occasion for everybody, for all of them, for a shot here, a shot there, that the pros don't screw up. But it was entertaining. It was fun. But you're right. The main deal is it raised some monies. It raised a lot of monies for some good charities, and so I think it was a wonderful deal. It's a wonderful. We talk about all-star games. We talk about how crummy the NFL Pro Bowl is. So crummy they've done away with it. Major League Baseball, the All-Star game, you can take it or leave it. It used to be really competitive, not so much anymore. And, of course, the NBA All-Star game. What a joke. What a joke.
Well, it's even at least better than the NFL's. Yeah, it's a good idea.
But
it's an interesting.
But this was good. This is good. This raises funds, and it's entertaining. The NBA All-Star game is not entertaining. I'm sorry. It's not entertaining. And the Pro Bowl was just like that. I mean, you wouldn't you might as well tie a flag around everybody's waist and play flag football even with the pads on back in the day is what I'm talking about. Well, I know that, right, but I mean, I'm talking about
skills.
But put the flag on even back when they were playing with pads, that would have even been better because nobody tackled. You know that. Nobody tackled.
Well, why would you?
Well, why would you?
I would be terrified if I was an owner or a coach and my guys were in a full contact game like that.
I got you.
No.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. No,
these exhibitions, right. I would agree with you. I still think Major League Baseball in the Home Run Derby into the All-Star game is the best form of exhibition. But you know what? Doing something like this, and it doesn't really celebrate their greatness of their own sport, but if we're just talking about exhibitions, this is as good, this is as good as anything that's done in that way. And so I'm happy to do it. I saw some people clamoring to get the next match to be Tiger Woods and his son versus John Daly and his son. And, yeah, I think that would be cool, but I'm not sure if it would be as entertaining because it would probably get just a little bit more serious. And you might have some parenting moments that get a little awkward for the audience, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm on board with that. So, that would be fun. I would think that would need to be. But probably what needs to happen is now Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes retain their title, and it's like a who's next kind of a thing, right? Like who's going to step up to the plate next year and take on those two guys? And we saw, did Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, they went against each other with a pro, and then, because Kelce and Mahomes have done this, I can't remember who they went up against, but you're going to have to go find another pair. Go find another pair of guys, and, there are great golfers all over the sports world, but they've got to be entertaining people too, because I don't want to just see two sticks in the mud get up there and, fire off a bunch of birdies. I need a little trash talk. I need this to feel more like me and my buddies out playing golf than watching a pro event.
I'm going to give you a suggestion. See what you think of this. Now, I mean, it's and they're entertaining. How about the Peyton brothers?
Yep, that'd be good.
I
imagine
how good would that
golfers.
be?
The Manning brothers, that would be good.
You have one. One of those Mannings is the funniest guy on television in sports personalities. I mean, Peyton Manning is as funny as he is naturally funny.
Eli's no slouch either. Eli's got that dry sense of humor.
Okay,
you're probably right. That'd be the perfect match. Good call.
That
would not be stunned if that happens. The only thing about that is they're both so involved now with ESPN. And it's a Turner event. That would be the only thing that might
but a charity,
create something there. I know.
That's good. I mean, this isn't
the
about,
other. who can you pair like Tony Romo with? Tony Romo, who is a scratch golfer, who's very, very close to being pro level good. Like, who could he play with that would, I don't know, you're never going to get a guy like Michael Jordan on there. God, could you imagine getting Jordan versus Kelsey and Mahomes? Just the trash talk of that would be out of this world.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think he's going to do
I
something
go blank
like that.
on football Saturday morning on ESPN. The guy that always has a big belt buckle. I've gone blank on his name. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, Marty Smith?
No.
The reporter?
Marty Smith. Yeah, what about him?
Yeah, he's good. Yeah, I don't know how good a golfer he is, but he's a highly entertaining.
I forgot about entertaining, but I don't know if he's. Yeah, you're right. So
he might be a great golfer. I mean, who knows? That's the thing about golf.
Yeah.
Like sometimes somebody you wouldn't expect at all is this amazing golfer. I think we would all expect Patrick Mahomes to be a good golfer because he's good at everything.
Well, that's right. I mean,
Steph Curry.
Yeah.
We've known as a good golfer for a long time, but maybe we don't know Klay Thompson's decent or Travis Kelce's decent. I remember, when I was in college and we'd play golf, outside of, Paul, no offense here, outside of the linemen, most of those dudes were good golfers. Like, most of those players were good golfers. Anytime you'd go out, and you're like, that's not fair, right? You're supposed to be, you've already been physically blessed enough to play football. You don't also get to be awesome at golf just because. Like, this is supposed to be the game that levels it out for us.
Right.
But it was good. It was entertaining. I thought it was everything it needed to be. Good on Mahomes and Kelsey for, taking another title there, for winning me a little bit of money, Paul. Speaking of winning money and gambling, the NFL, does it have a problem on its hands?
I don't know.
More suspensions.
Yeah. I don't know.
More suspensions.
More suspensions. And here's the thing. I'm torn on this whole thing. I'm torn on it for two reasons. Well, the first reason is that, some of these guys say, well, I didn't know what the rules were. Really? Is that, in the locker room of Baylor back in the day when I was treading those hallways, I can tell you this, we all knew what the rules were on gambling. And they were posted in the hallways where you walk into to the arena and practice.
Well, it's pretty simple, right?
Don't. How about that? That's a good summary. Thank you. I knew what the rules were. You don't. And I think all these guys do know the rules. But here's part of the problem. I was watching a soccer match the other day. Soccer. Somebody had a logo on one of the national betting organizations that you can log on to and make bets right on your telephone, as you well know. And as well as I know you support your family with your gambling, and I think it's okay. I was a joke.
Not well.
Not well. But anyway, I was just kidding around. But anyway, what are the rules? Because after all, my team sponsors these. My league endorses this betting operation.
Hold that thought, Paul, because I do have some thoughts on it. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Max Power producing for us. The IHOP hotline is wide open. 869-1240. You can get your calls in to the IHOP hotline. So please do that. We've got all kinds of good stuff. Hey, want to remind you that Odyssey's teaming with the City of Wichita, the Wichita Parks Foundation, Riverfront Stadium, and the Wichita Wind Surge to bring you Red, White, and Boom July 4th at Riverfront Stadium. Entries free. Gates open at 6. Riverfront's concessions will be open. Plus, enjoy food trucks on the Hyatt lawn. Watch the Surge play in Tulsa on the Jumbotron, and then stay for those fireworks. Paul, did you see that the fireworks show at Bradley Fair started a big fire last night?
No, I didn't. I did not see that.
Go to KWBCH.com. That was interesting. Everybody's okay. It's all good.
Good.
All right. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll talk about this gambling situation in the NFL when Sports Daily rolls forward on a Friday.
Okay, take it easy. We're going on the air.
This is Sports Daily on KFH.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Daily on KFH. It is Albrecht. It is Savage. Glad to be here with you today. Paul, so the NFL, 4 more players suspended indefinitely here. The Colts have them earn 2 of them full season, and then the Titans had an offensive lineman suspended 6 days. The details aren't that important. But this is the second or third time we've seen this now in the NFL, where they're suspending players for gambling. You mentioned this before. Everybody knows what the rules are. The rules are basically just don't bet, right? And certainly don't bet. You know, we saw it with the Lions. You can't bet while at a team facility. You can't bet on football, certainly. That seems simple to me, right? If you have the privilege to play football, you're going to have to wait until you're done playing to enjoy the betting aspect that is now being introduced into sports. And for me, Paul, I don't care that these leagues and these teams are, you know, willingly accepting sponsorships from these companies, because that enhances the fan experience, right? Fans are allowed to drink a beer at the game to enhance the fan experience. Players can't sit down there and drink beer. I mean, I guess they can. But, you know, like, you're playing the game. You have the privilege to play the game. It doesn't matter that the fans get to do this. You don't. It's not that difficult for me to understand, Paul.
Well, I get what you're saying. And, you know, here's the part of the problem with guys like you and me and guys like players in the NFL. We think we know more than the average guy. And you want to know something? That's when the different gambling houses go to bank. That's where they want guys like me, a guy to bet who thinks he knows a little bit about what he's betting on. And that's what the NFL guys. That's why these guys bet. Why do they bet? It's another frontier. It's another conquest that they can put in their belt. That's what this is all about. There's something about, you know, winning and competing and having something on a line at all times. And that's what this is all about. But, man, you're gambling a lot when you gamble in the NFL. And if you're an NFL player and you're making some book money and you're just, you know, rolling in it, you're putting a lot on the line. I don't get it. But on the other hand, I understand it. I get it. I know why. They think they know more than everybody else. Maybe it comes down to simply this. No betting on yourself. No betting on your team, no betting on the team you're getting ready to play, and no betting, I guess, at your facility, although, you know, you walk around with an iPhone and you can bet on anything in the world at any time, at any place, on any event practically going on in the entire world. You can place a bet with an iPhone. So I don't know that it's that important that you can't bet at your training facility. But I understand why they don't, because, you know, there's things that you can learn in a training facility that, quite frankly, can give you a benefit over other bettors. And I'm sure that's part of why that's so important.
Yeah,
but
I
don't know.
You have to protect the integrity of the game. Look, it's not that complicated.
Yeah.
The integrity of the game must be protected. But at the same time, as laws are being loosened on betting, we're not just going to not do any business that way. That has a potential to be one of our largest business partners. Paul, it's even simpler. While you're playing football, don't bet. And maybe it can be as nuanced as, while you're playing in a football season, don't bet. In the off season, you can bet on other sports. But I would try to go even simpler. If I had the sort of money on the line that these guys have, and I like to bet as much as anybody. People that listen to this show know that. But when there's that much money on it, you're going to have to wait. It's not that big a deal. Just hang back, make your millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars at the least. Just hang tight, and you can bet when you're done playing. Mm-hmm. It's not that difficult.
What about off-season?
It shouldn't be that. I don't even know that you need all the nuance. I mean, yeah, you can say, you know what, just don't bet on football. You can bet on the other sports, not while you're here, but, you know, when you're at home, you can bet on the other. I suppose that's okay. But I don't even, like, to me, like, if I'm the athlete there, I don't want to risk any of it. Just, you know, just don't do it. It's like, Paul, if this is maybe a little bit of apples to oranges. Let's say I live in a state where you can smoke weed, right? But my work says you can't smoke weed. And I got a great job. Most of us are just going to not smoke weed while we have that job. Right. Even if everybody around us gets to. But it's a term of our employment that we can't. Right. That's just it. Okay. Like that I know that's the case and I just can't do it. It's sort of like that, right? Like maybe everybody else does get to do it, but your job doesn't allow you to do it.
Right.
So don't.
And even those that rely on the First Amendment with the right, the right of free speech to do what you want, that's where you could have some consequences. A private employer can make these demands that you don't do it. So there goes that, your constitutional rights. You have the right to do speech, free speech, that goes out the window. So that's an excellent point you brought up, because a private employer has the right to tell you anything. Our employer here at Odyssey Radio has the right to tell us when to come to the office and when to get on a microphone and when to do these kind of things with stipulations on things that we can say and do on air. We get that. We agree to it, don't we? We agree that we will not do the things that our employers don't want us to do, and that's only fair. On the other hand, when you're off on your own time, then you can do other things that would not be opposed to what your employer wants. And the NFL is an employer, a big employer, a lot of guys, a lot of money, a lot of coaches, a lot of staff. They have the right, Jacob, to be able to tell people what to do when it comes to betting. As a private entity, they get to say, this is what you do if you work for us. We're not saying that you can't do anything and everything. We're saying, with this regards of gambling, this is what you cannot do. We're private. We get to tell you this. You don't like it? Move on down the road. Go find another football league that allow you to bet. Have at it. And so I like your point on that. And to a certain extent, I think we both understand that a private employer has the right to tell you to do anything you want. And if you don't like it, you don't have to stay there. But where are you going to go make, $25 million a year as a top-notch receiver? I mean, there's limited places you can go, so you're going to do what your employer tells you. But rightfully so. There's an image to be protected.
You have to understand the history of this in sports. The most dangerous thing is that people don't think it's real, like that people think it's being thrown. And you do have to protect against that.
Oh, my God.
And so yesterday, I see people, because there was a PED suspension yesterday that was for 4 games, while the gamblers were getting 6 games for betting a parlay. And someone said 6 games for a parlay, but only 4 for PEDs. And I'm like, guys, that parlay questions and challenges the integrity of the game more than PEDs. PEDs, everybody's trying to win, right? Like, everybody's trying to be their best. Sometimes in gambling, everybody's not trying to be their best, Paul, and they're trying to throw things and manipulate things, and that's what you can never have the perception of that. And I don't think there is a perception of that in the NFL. The NBA's been challenged at times. Baseball certainly not challenged. But even like the Astros cheating scandal, even worse than that, maybe the worst thing for a league is for the fans to not believe that it's real. That's why these penalties are so harsh. That's why they are so cut and dry. That's why Calvin Ridley was suspended a full season. And guys that do far worse things in society are punished less. Mm-hmm. Should those guys be punished more? Maybe, probably. But there has to be such a hard line on gambling because it challenges the integrity of the game on the field. That's why these rules are so harsh, and quite frankly, that's why they need to be so harsh.
Right. And I'm can I throw you back just a little bit? This will take you way back to the days when a guy by the name of Pete Rose, I know you've heard of him, one time got in trouble with some gambling. And I was under the impression that he was gambling on baseball of all things, but he wasn't gambling on the Reds. And I can't believe I did this. I actually took his side. I was sympathetic to him to a certain extent.
I have too, in the Hall of Fame debate.
Yes, but I took his side, and I thought, something, he's not betting on his team. It turns out, We didn't know all the information when this thing first broke, and for months and months and months. Correct me if I'm wrong on my memory. I don't believe we knew. It took quite a while for us to finally find out. When it got specific and all the facts of the case were released, he actually did bet on Cincinnati Red baseball. And I thought to myself, well, this can't be. There's got to be consequences of this. And obviously, I guess it was so long ago that the consequences of Pete Rose and what happened to him were completely forgotten by guys in the NFL. Forgotten by guys this week. How's that? That's even being more specific. That you can't bet on sports, particularly your own sport, and there are certain rules. But Pete Rose was the first one to open my eyes that, there's an image problem. And if you ever have a situation where somebody is betting on their own team, it is a disaster for credibility in a football league. It is, or any league, I guess I should say. And you just can't have that. Pete Rose was the very first one that, kind of got me thinking about it. You know something? You got to be really careful about this. And I don't really have a problem if, say, for instance, pick your NFL player. He wants to bet in the off season on an NBA game, or maybe in baseball. Right after your season's over and baseball's gearing up, and your season's in football's over, and you want to bet on a baseball game. I'm not sure I have a problem with that. But I have a problem with them betting on football because you remember there was, and this is history, and I only know of it from conversations with sports historians. There's a huge gambling situation where some players, I believe from St. Louis University, I think that's where it was, back in the 50s, took money to throw games. You can't have that. You can't have the inference of possibly somebody getting to somebody because they're betting. Maybe they're in a hole somewhere with some betting outfit. I don't know. You can't have that. It casts the whole game in a bad light. You just can't have that. And so, I'm kind of with you. I think I'm with you. I think I know where you are. And you're that, let them bet, but not on their sport. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. I think it's different. I think in some places you can bet in other, but there's always been a gray area. Like play fantasy football if you're a baseball player, right? Like I don't think it's worth the risk, and I don't know what the rules. If the rules are clearly defined, and if you're a football player, you can bet on basketball, just not at the facility. Okay, fine, right? Like if you clearly understand. Even then, though, Paul, I would be so dang nervous. Like if I had that on the line, right? To take a suspension. You're never going to bet enough to offset a suspension. And again, I love to bet sports as much as anybody else, right? But I will be fair to this too. There are people, Paul, who cannot just easily say, I don't want to do that right now. I understand that. I have sympathy to that. I thank the Lord that I don't fall into that camp. But there are people there, and I get it. And you also have to be careful of that too. If you're these leagues, you don't want to, enable any of that either, because that's where I think you could also get down that slippery slope of the integrity of your game.
Right.
And the Colts cut these guys. Basically, they said to protect the integrity of the game. I mean, it's a pretty hard line that you just, and it won't make sense when you consider some of the other suspensions that are handed out. And I don't really know what to say about that. Yeah, penalties should be harsher for some of these things. And maybe they should be that harsh across the board. I've never taken supplements or anything like that, so I don't really understand or have a good grasp of how things could accidentally happen. I think that that's legitimate sometimes, that things can accidentally happen. I mean, it's all very confusing. The abuse stuff and the violence stuff, that's an easy answer. Just suspend those guys for forever. Like, I don't care about, if you act and behave that way, then you could be gone far longer than the gamblers. But the reality is, for the sports themselves and for the leagues themselves, Paul, the integrity of them is as important and as dangerous to their bottom line as anything, and that's why we see this. Right. And that's, by the way, in some of these it's like some pretty heavy-duty investigating to catch these guys.
Right.
Clearly the leagues have invested a lot in that, so it's not like you're going to just, like, sneak around on this either.
But on the other hand, that's one of the fears of what goes on is that when you hide these kind of things and when you don't want the league to know, and particularly if you know the rules and you're breaking the rules, there's always somebody that knows you did it. And then you become, susceptible to bribery and throwing something. I mean, it's an ugly thing, and there are so many things bad that can happen when it comes to betting. But here's why they get caught. Somebody will always tell, won't they? You can't keep. You think you're an NFL star and you can keep it secret that you're betting on football? You think that you can keep that, and particularly like if you're betting in a facility. There's cameras all over those places. You knew that. I mean, you can't walk down a hall without being filmed. There's security cameras all over those places, and they're everywhere. And you can't do anything without somebody knowing about it. And boy, there's always somebody to take advantage of you. And you think you got a good friend, and somehow it gets out. He tells somebody, and somebody tells, and all of a sudden it gets back to the league. I'll tell you what, you can't win. I don't know why you even try. Just don't do it. Go bet on something else that's legal, that you're allowed to do. Go to Vegas. Go have some fun. Go drop a couple $100,000 at Treasure Island or wherever Caesar's Palace, wherever you want to go in Las Vegas.
Betting sports.
Yeah. Go drop it wherever you want to go. Go drop it. But don't do it.
Nothing saying you can't go play craps, right? Play blackjack.
Boy, you want to do that? Go do it.
It's just not like you just can't do sports betting while you're playing professional sports. It's pretty simple.
Not hard.
I don't even think it needs to be like this large debate. Well, why is a parlay worse than PEDs, and why do they? Nope. Like it's just a pretty black and white, simple, straightforward. While you're playing, you don't get to bet sports.
Well,
I mean, that's the easiest way to look at it.
And it's
an unfortunate reality, and very clearly these leagues are policing this.
Yes.
So don't be stunned.
No,
they might be policing this, Paul, more than they police PEDs.
I hope
right?
they are. I hope they are, because this has the potential of ruining a league.
You've always been afraid of that.
I've
always been afraid of that. I think that would be so difficult to pull off in today's world where everybody can see everything, right? It would be so hard to pull off somebody tanking or doing what. I mean, you get tanking in the NBA anyway, which makes the NBA really hard to bet. But it would be so difficult to pull off. I don't think this is like some moment of panic for, oh my goodness, look at what it's doing, because it's not. With very isolated incidents, and for the most part, this has gone well for these leagues, and it's enhanced the experience, I think, for a lot of us. I think betting lines, whether you're betting or not, are fascinating ways to look at games and, predict them and those kinds of things. But if you're a player, man, you're just going to have to wait.
Yep,
you got to wait right now.
Yep, got to wait.
How many people a week do you tell, I just drink black coffee?
Like a real man. Max, I want you to know I've been drinking my coffee black for about, a month and a half. Jacob kind of shamed me into it, but I feel like a man, a real man. I'm not putting any creamer in my coffee to those guys, that kind of guy. I'm drinking my coffee black. I feel good. I've enjoyed the taste of coffee. It's a special ingredient that God has put into this world, and I'm enjoying it. In fact, just to give you a note, Rocco and I are heading out. Joe, my good friend Joe Rocco, your good friend as well. We're heading up to that part of the city up northeast where there's a lot of commerce going on, and we're going to stop and get us a coffee. I wanted to get a recommendation real quick from HTO. You're bringing in some coffees. I've tried almost every time whatever you suggested, and it's been a winner for me every time. What are you suggesting for Joe and I on this trip that we're taking tomorrow up to HTO?
You're talking about the new iced coffees?
Well, I'm going to open it up. Give me a direction where you think we need to go. Hot, cold. I am putty in your hand.
It is 100 degrees outside.
You got a point.
So
you got a point.
I'm going to suggest. Here's what I'm going to suggest
you
try.
Please.
So we just rolled out our summer our summer flavor.
Correct,
which is
correct. And we've tried one of them already. Yes.
Summerade on
Right.
the tea, but if you go to that east location where we've got the brew house, there's this Summer Breezer, it's called, which is sort of a brew house spin on that blueberry Summerade. Try that out.
Oh,
Summer Breezer.
Summer Breezer. Now, so it is an iced coffee
type. Yeah,
type.
It's sort of. Yeah, it's not as traditional as some of the other iced coffees, but it's a spin on it. So try that, and if that doesn't sound good, just do a iced cinnamon honey macchiato.
Well, that flavor was my favorite tea when you guys first opened, just on the west side. That was my favorite tea. I don't know how I could go wrong with that particular one, and so I like the suggestion. So that will be.
Breezer.
Now I can't make Rocco do it. Obviously.
Well, just tell him to get one of the iced coffees then. Here's what we'll do, too, by the way, because the listeners are the most important thing. Let's give two we'll do that next week. So, listeners, we'll get you some free coffee next week. So stay tuned for that. Paul, give us a report on that.
Okay.
But, Paul, coffee, so to the black coffee thing,
yes.
It's like if you got your man card out, there's a couple little check boxes on there that make you feel good, right? Black coffee is one of them.
Right.
I'll have a cup of coffee. How do you? Oh, just black for me. Thank you.
Yeah, just black.
You get to like check a little box there, right?
You're right.
Another one.
Right.
Oh, okay, I'll take a steak. How would you like it cooked? Oh, medium rare, please. Like like medium rare here. We're not going to overcook this thing. Another check in your box, right, of a man card. And I'm not saying you have to do this. Just one of those like guy things that you just kind of like puff out your chest a little bit. My black coffee and my medium rare steak and. What'll you have? Oh, just a whiskey, please. Like nobody's saying like a vanilla rum, please. Like, no, just a whiskey, please. Like there's certain things that you get to, you just get to boast that and wear it on your chest just a little bit. And I'd say those are three of them: black coffee, your steak more rare than not, and whiskey. You know something? I think you're onto something. I have noticed the little puff of the chest when I say I'll take my coffee black. I have noticed that. You do. Max, I swear. Max is laughing at me now, but I swear that I've actually felt my chest expand with pride when I say black, please.
Do you
I tell at least four people
Max,
a week that I drink coffee black.
Well, Max, what were you going to say?
Do you play squeeze black coffee in bed constantly in your car?
Oh, gosh. I don't even know what that is, Jacob. Something tells me that's a weird California thing, particularly San Francisco. No. Okay. I don't know.
If I was allowed to play it here, I would.
Okay. No.
Appropriate.
I guess the answer is no to your question, Max.
YouTube will shut you off in Russia or someplace.
I got you. Well, anyway, I have that pride with the chest. I feel the chest expansion when I say, I'll take my coffee black, please.
But if you go espresso.
Huh?
Go espresso.
Ooh, espresso. Well, HTO doesn't carry it yet. Yet, does it?
Yes, we do. Oh, yeah, we do.
I didn't know that.
Well, we got a wide
about
variety of espresso drinks. Those macchiatos and all that stuff, that's all espresso. Macchiatos,
I thought
lattes.
Those were coffees.
Nope, those are espresso drinks. Coffee's coffee.
Wow.
All the other ones are espresso. And I'm not like a coffee. I'm not an espresso expert. Because again, I drink black coffee. But no, it's all there. We've got all the espresso drinks, and they're delicious. I've had a few. They're amazing.
HTO, two locations. 2 locations. I mean, third coming, I think, right? Third coming?
Oh, we once we catch our breath.
We're kicking it around.
869-1240 is the IHOP hotline. Paul and I will be back. We got a lot to get to here in hour number 2. What's on tap? Well, we're going to talk a little James Harden, Big 12 NIL, Hard Knocks. Is this the day for the Pac-12 TV deal? We'll get into it all next.
What's up? I'm Nick Lachey, and you're listening to Boys No More, presented by AAA Insurance. Visit AAA.com/insurance to get a quote.